Alright guys, in today's video we have even more PlayStation news and information to go over and discuss. So before we get into it, if you could hit the like button to help the video out, I'd really appreciate it. And I really do appreciate all the support that you guys have been showing me here on the channel. It does not go unnoticed. I also want you to leave a comment down below letting me know how you feel about Sony becoming very comfortable with putting more PlayStation 4 exclusives onto the PC platform. The reason why I'm asking this is because we have a leak that has come out, which is clearly fake. It's not a real leak, but what makes it interesting is how plausible it could be. Now, recently, Jim Ryan did confirm that a whole slate of PlayStation titles will be making their way to PC later this year, starting with Days Gone, which caught some people by surprise, others not so much. And I want to read from Push Square because they published an article on this, and the title reads, "Bogus Leak Dupes Web with Purported PS4 to PC Ports." So it says a bogus leak published by some major publications claims that Bloodborne, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, and God of War are all poised to be published on PC. This follows comments from PlayStation boss Jim Ryan when he confirmed that Sony would be bringing more first-party titles to platforms like Steam and the Epic Games Store. However, while the rumor seems reasonable on the surface, we've traced through the supposed insider's Twitter account, and it's filled with guesswork. For example, last July, the same poster said that Mass Effect Legendary Edition would be announced at a Microsoft event, except it wasn't unveiled until N7 Day in November. We still don't know which titles PlayStation will bring to the PC, and while all of the above seem like sensible guesses, there's no substance to this story at all. For now, we know that Days Gone is scheduled to release on Steam and the Epic Games Store this spring. Now, I do appreciate this article because they say a few things here that I do agree with. First of all, they say that these are sensible guesses, which I mostly agree with. And they are also keen to point out that, look, this is not official, this is not real, this has no substance to it. This is essentially the equivalent of somebody just guessing what some of these games may be. And a lot of people have been asking me my thoughts on this leak, right, on these titles, and I believe that all of these games at one point or another will make their way to PC. However, there is something here that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There are a few things. So looking at Bloodborne, I think that does make complete sense. I think Bloodborne will certainly be one of these titles that makes its way to PC sooner rather than later. But then we have Ghost of Tsushima, and this is where I kind of raise my eyebrow because I'm like, you know, this game isn't even a year old. I do not doubt that Sony will eventually bring it to PC, but the idea that they want to bring it so soon, it doesn't make much sense because I'm sure that there are still people, you know, buying this game on PS4, still buying a PS4 to play this game, and people who are picking it up on PS5. I don't think there's any rush to get a title like this onto PC. I could be wrong though. We really don't know. But then we have Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, which makes total sense to me. It's an older game. Literally nobody is buying a console to just play Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. But what's odd is that there's no Uncharted 4 or Lost Legacy, and I would assume that if Sony is going to want to bring the Uncharted franchise to PC, they're going to want to bring all of the games over. That would just make the most sense. And then we have God of War, which is another title that I think makes a lot of sense, and I certainly do expect God of War to make its way to PC. We see Horizon Zero Dawn making its way to PC, a game that is getting a sequel for the PlayStation 5 and PS4. And then we see Days Gone, which is another title that is for sure getting a sequel on PS5 at some point. And we know that God of War has a sequel in the works for PS5 and maybe PS4 as well. So all in all, I don't really think that these games are that far-fetched. I think Ghost of Tsushima is really the only one here that makes me think, it seems a little too soon for that. But one thing that is for sure, and just to kind of answer people's question, you know, like, do I really believe that Sony will bring some or possibly all of these games over to PC at some point in time? My answer to that question is yes, I do. Sony has made it abundantly clear at this point that they are fully embracing PC as a platform, at least when it comes to PlayStation 4 titles. I can't say that I expect the same thing to happen for PS5 titles, at least not anytime soon. But there you go. Those are my thoughts on this Clearly bogus leak, but we're going to move on from that and talk a little bit about Kenna Birds of Spirits, because it has been confirmed that there will be a free PS4 to PS5 upgrade for this title. So it says on their official Twitter, that being Ember Lab, the developers of the game, they were asked about whether or not you'd get a free upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5. And they responded with a pretty enthusiastic yes, confirming for the first time that you will be able to get a free upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version. And I just thought that this was important to highlight and tell everybody, because I know that many of you are still in the process of trying to acquire a PS5, and I know that many of you are very much looking forward to this title. And a lot of you might not be able to get a PS5 until later on in the year, but you really do want to play this game. It's, coming out in August, and by that time you may still be struggling to get your hands on a PS5. That would not surprise me at all. So you play it on the PS4. It's just good to know that when you finally do get your PS5, say maybe not till the holiday season of this year, maybe not until 2022, you will get a free PS5 upgrade for this title. So we love to see stuff like that, and Kenna is easily one of the most anticipated games coming to the PlayStation platform. So there you go. But moving on from that, we're talking about some sales data, which I know not everybody's interested in. I think that there are some important things we can gather from evaluating this data and looking at it. So it says here, Sony's PS5 was the best-selling next-gen console of 2020 in the UK, outselling Microsoft's Xbox Series consoles by quite a margin. As reported by GamesIndustry.biz, Sony's next-gen console, and this includes both the standard PS5 model and the digital-only variant, sold over 450,000 units between its launch on November 19th and December 31st, 2020. Microsoft's Xbox Series X and Series S combined managed to sell over 310,000 units between November 10th and December 31st, a sales difference of roughly 45% in the favor of Sony's console. Interestingly, Sony's PS5 drove $191 million in revenue, while the Series consoles drove $118 million in revenue. That's a 60% difference. Nintendo's hybrid console generated $367.4 million in 2020, thereby beating both the PS5 and Xbox Series combined, which is kind of expected. Goes on to say that the Nintendo Switch dominated console sales last year, selling over 1.5 million units in 2020. Of course, the Switch is available and has been available for the entire year, whereas Microsoft and Sony's next-gen offerings were only available for less than 2 months. And it's worth noting that there was a massive, and still is, a massive supply constraint. And so, I do think that this is some, fairly interesting data. We're seeing kind of like a trend where the PS5 is doing better than the Xbox Series consoles, which it's not that big of a deal. It's not like it's by some insane margin. It's not indicative of either of these consoles failing, but I think it honestly just is kind of what people expected, right? I think the real question here that we still don't have an answer to sitting here in March of 2021, and we probably will not have an answer to until maybe the holiday season this year, maybe not until 2022, is will the PS5 beat out the Switch? The Switch is a very popular console, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Series consoles, the Xbox Series consoles, I don't think they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Switch or even the PlayStation 5. I think that they will hold their own. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see what announcements Microsoft makes this year. But I think the big question is, will the PS5 be able to outpace the Switch? I think that that's going to be really interesting to find out, because the Switch is kind of a juggernaut, and so is PlayStation, and I want to kind of see them go head to head, but we really won't have an answer to that question until Sony can flood the market with PS5s, and at the rate it's going, it seems like that's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. But I want to close out this video with a really interesting topic, something that I wasn't expecting to be talking about, but apparently Ghost of Tsushima creators are being honored as permanent ambassadors of the real Tsushima Island. Sucker Punch Productions' Nate Fox and Jason Connell, who worked on the critically acclaimed PS4 title Ghost of Tsushima, have been crowned permanent tourism ambassadors of Nagasaki's city of Tsushima. As a result of travel restrictions, the ceremony will be held digitally, with Fox and Connell set to be presented with the award and a letter of appreciation from the island. Furthermore, the city also plans to collaborate with Sony Interactive Entertainment to establish a new tourism campaign based on the game, encouraging fans to discover more about the real-life island and its landmarks. Now, I had to take a minute here to talk about this because I just find it incredibly cool that these developers at Sucker Punch are being honored with this, and I'm sure that they did not expect this at all. It must be such a cool thing to wake up to. They worked on this title based on the island of Tsushima, and they liked it so much over there that they're like, hey, we want to make you permanent tourism ambassadors. I think it's really cool that they're going to collaborate with SIE and establish a new tourism campaign based on the game. I mean, who would have seen this coming? Such a really cool thing, man. Ghost of Tsushima is a game that has just created so much, I think, interesting conversation around what Sony Studios are able to do, right? How they're able to continue to grow and just really kind of surprise people at the end of the day. So yeah, I had to take a moment to talk about this, but that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Do me a favor and leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.